Everybody, Bruce here, and welcome to a broadcast. This is a broadcast I'm going to do about creating the images on my latest book. So this is my latest book, Walking Hadrian's Wall. And in September of last year, I walked Hadrian's Wall, which is a wall that runs from uh, one side of England to the other. It was built by Emperor Hadrian in 122 AD, and it was used to block the tribes that were previously in Scotland from coming into England and into the Roman Empire. So there's a sort of rough map of it, and it runs basically in the Scotland UK border. It runs across there, and it's a wall that was 15 to 20 feet high. It was a stone wall, 2.5 million bricks, and it's over 2,000 years old. And some chunk of it, the middle chunk of it, still remains today, and other parts go all the way across. And it's a very, very popular walk to do in England. I took 9 days. A lot of people do it in 6 days. And you hike from basically Newcastle on the eastern side of Great Britain to Carlisle and beyond on the western side. And you can go either way. And I went from the east to the west. Some people go west to east. And it's just a very, very cool thing to do. It's just one of the great walks if you're into doing long distance hiking. It's not something like the Appalachian Trail or the Pacific Crest Trail. This is only 6 to 9 days, but you're walking across the country. So I have put together, when I came back, I did a number of things. I'm going to show them all to you here because I've gotten quite a number of questions on how I did it, what I did, how I did the images, all that kind of stuff. So I thought I'd just take you through that and show you the process because a lot of people create images for their children's books and their books and things like that. So this was the book that I ended up with. It's on Amazon. There's a link above, below, somewhere here. And so it's a book of watercolor illustrations that I did. I took photographs all the way across England. And it's a very rural countryside. You're out there with the cows and the sheep in the fields, and you're climbing over farmers' walls and down roads and all that kind of stuff. There's that famous sycamore tree that's from the Kevin Costner movie. And I put all of these together into a book. I think there's 48 illustrations in here that I took. I broke it down by days, and I put it together, 8.5 by 8.5 book, produced it in InDesign, and published it on Amazon. So let me just take you through how I came up with this and what I did. So when I went on the trip originally, I took sketchbooks with me and my paints. This is the watercolor set I use. It's one of these little Cotman watercolor sets, just a simple little set like there. I took a few brushes. I took these pens. These are great. Anybody who does pen and ink drawing, these are available pretty much in any Michael's or art store, different widths, and I use them for sketching with. I also had pencils with me. I did all of that. As I walked my way across England, I carried one notebook in my pocket, and I did a series of sketches, just recording it as I went. Sometimes I did them sitting out live. Sometimes I did them back in my, I'd stayed in bed and breakfast all the way across. And most of the painting was all done at nighttime when I was just sitting there, but the pen and ink drawings were sometimes done on location. These were done while I was sitting in a restaurant, looking out the window, that kind of stuff. So I carried this, and I did a number of different things with this, and that's a different story, but I just painted things in different styles. When I got back to my bed and breakfast, I had a bigger book, and this is just a bigger sketchbook. I recorded my thoughts for the day, and then did illustrations, a series of illustrations, and these were done in the styles of different artists. A friend of mine had said, why don't you try doing in different artists? So here's my Picasso version of sheep, and I just posted these. Many of you saw these pictures of that I did. This is me, terrible self-portrait. And this is my Andy Warhol. This is the sycamore tree, the famous sycamore tree. But I just took notes. I posted this. I blogged it. I put it on Instagram. I did all different things as I went across, with the idea that I was going to create some kind of book when I got to the end. And I've done this kind of thing before. And one of the things to do when you're doing things like this is record this as you're going. Like, take the notes as you go, and Otherwise, you'll forget them, and post as you go. So I would post images and write the descriptions in Facebook or in Instagram, knowing I could then go and pull that stuff off um, and have the text caught on the right day at the right moment with the right names and all that kind of stuff. And I could use that text later for whatever I was going to do. And so that's my David Hockney version of it. So I did that all the way across and did a whole bunch of these. This is downtown London, that kind of stuff. So it's a real fun thing to do, but that capturing it as you go is a really key thing. Here's the one I did at the end. I made it. I did it all the way across. I walked. The path is 84 miles. I ended up walking 166 miles because you're going up and down and back and forth and all around. At least that's what my watch and phone said. And so I had pretty tired feet by the time I was done, but I did lots of cool stuff. So I came back and I said, what am I going to do? I want to recapture this, try to make a book out of it. And I sat down over a couple days, got another sketchbook. This is how projects like this evolve. And I sat down and very, very quickly with pencil and that watercolor set sketched out the whole trip. I had sort of selected pictures that I liked. These are the ones that captured it. And I very quickly put together, let me just get this out of the way. We don't need this anymore. Captured images. These were done extremely fast, maybe 3 minutes of a sketch, something like that. And I would do, 12 of them at one spot. And basically, I storyboarded the book. This is sort of me just saying, what do I want to do? If I did a book, how big would it be? What would be the images? And so I did all of these. I like them. I like the energy of them. I like the speed that I did them at. I finished them all. And you can see there, some are kind of blurry and all that kind of stuff. And but I really liked them, and I tried some different things with them. I used some watercolor pencil on them, a little pen and ink. I just did them as fast as I possibly could. And when I got done, I realized they're not quite what I wanted for the book, though actually I think they would make a fine book. It's just a quickie sketchbook. Is that I realized that if I had slowed down a little bit and made them a little bit bigger, I would have made the images for my book and I'd be done. I wouldn't have to go do what I ended up doing, which is redoing this all over again. So these all went, this is the whole trip done in a notebook. Fast pencil from pictures of the whole project. So then I thought, okay, now I want to make a book. Let's really make the book. I did a quickie shutterfly book of images just to remember it, but I said I want to make something better. And I thought, okay, I want to go back and redo all of these. It's about, in the end, about 48 images. I'm going to go back and redo all of these a little bit bigger and just a little bit better. And that would be the images from my book. So that's what I did. So I sort of started and I ran into the problem of I didn't know quite how to get into the book and I wasn't sure which way to go. Pen and ink, pencil. So I also am not that good at portraits. So I was trying to, so here I am, sort of a composite picture of me in front of King's Cross train station. There's another one. I was like, I couldn't seem to kind of get into this project. And do I like pen and ink? Here's pen and ink of, this is the Tyne River going out of Newcastle. Or do I like, let me just put these in here like this. Or do I like pencil? And I like the expressive in pencil like I did in the first ones. So I finally settled on, in fact, here's a good example. I did a pen and ink one, and I did a pencil one, the same drawing, trying to gather how big, what medium do I use? How am I going to do this? And I continued to struggle with getting into the project. Like, how do I start? What's the beginning? What do I have train station pictures. I have me starting pictures. I have me in the hotel pictures. Like, I really documented the whole thing. And what I finally came to the feeling was, forget about the beginning. I'll figure it out later. And I'm just going to go to the middle, start somewhere in the middle. So that's what I did. And I started painting, sat there and drew, and I started painting these images from the middle, figuring once I kind of get the feel for it, I'll catch it up. So they're a little bit bigger, a little bit better. And I also realized, again, I put a lot of work into trying to do portraits and people and me. I'm okay with it, but I'm not that good at it. And I realized the speed I'm doing these at and the way I'm creating them is that I don't have to be perfect with these. I just try to be consistent. So that's one lesson I learned out of this was if you're making a set of consistent images, that's your look. That's what you do. So if they aren't perfect, they're not the best drawn, best painted, it doesn't really matter because they're all the same. And that's just my look. That's the look I went with. So some I really like there's the cow, the sheep, lots of sheep. You know, walk by a lot of sheep on Hadrian's wall. And then I also love this sort of loose expressiveness look to it. So those are the pictures. And then as I got near the end, there's a Roman soldier. Yes, there are people who walk Hadrian's wall dressed in Roman soldier garb. They're fundraising usually for something or just because they feel like it. And you see lots of things. This is a walk of history, a walk of people. You meet people on the way. You learn a lot of history. You're outside all the time. It's a personal challenge. You know, can you do it? Can you do those walks? Here were two guys that I ended up walking with for a while for 3 days in the middle. This guy here on the end, he has walked the Pacific Crest Trail. So you meet people who are incredibly experienced and people like me who are medium. This is the second of these long distance walks I've done. So that's the images. And then when I got to the end, I recreated my picture of me standing at King's Cross with my packs. I had one on the back, one on the front. I used the pack moving system. So I carried the red pack, which would go on my back as my day pack. And then I had luggage transfer. There's my eventual, you saw remember from the beginning, this is the one I finally ended up going with. So I did all the beginning stuff at the end. This was me here, liked a lot better than where I was. I knew you just keep doing it, you get better and better and better. Okay, so there I have it. I've done all the images, about 48 images. There's the end one. Yay, I made it. Okay. And so now what do? How do I get them into these images, format them, do all the things I'm going to do with them? Trying to find the beginning so I can lay this down without getting it dirty. There we go. Do this. So the book was created in InDesign. The photographs were processed in Photoshop, and then it was put all together in InDesign, and then was loaded up onto KDP Amazon. So the next challenge is how do I get these pictures in and process them? And I tried a bunch of different things, and so I don't have a photo booth, or I hadn't have a big enough scanner. So I tried scanning them on my desktop, but my little desktop scanner that's part of my printer didn't do a very good job. Then I went to Staples and scanned everything, but it tended to, I'll just move these up here so you can see them. It tended to blow everything out. All things that were light, like these washes right in here, you can see that move. See if we can do this so we can see it better. Right there, all would get blown away. Well, that's the scanner. Maybe there's no way to adjust the scanner at Staples. It's part of their self-serve printer thing. So I went back. They had two settings, regular and sort of high quality. So I went back and then redid them all again and tried again to see if the high quality ones work better. There's no way to make adjustments on it. I couldn't print anything out and see what I was scanning. So I just tried all those things. And so eventually what I did was I took my iPad and I took them outside and I just took a picture of them. So let me show you the picture of, where's the picture of the bridge here? I was on a sunny day. I tried on a cloudy day. I took on a sunny day. And I'm looking for my copy of the bridge here. Don't see it. Oh, I'll show you a different one. And I just took and scanned them with the iPad and did this. I just held it over it on a sunny day, held it nice and steady, and just took a picture of it. You can see the picnic table underneath up at the top here. Right? Brought them into Photoshop and realized that what happens when you do that is that they pick up a tint. And I don't know enough about doing iPad photography to adjust the camera on my iPad. So I ended up, if you notice around the outside, you can see this tint around the outside. And if I go to the processed image, you'll see how white it is when I take that stuff away. But when I did the real one, it had this tint. So when I would drop these images into InDesign, you would see this box, this sort of bluish tone all the way around the outside. So this is one of the questions that comes up all the time when people sort of working on images that don't understand this. All my images need to be 300 dots per inch. So what I do is I have to downsize it. Because if you look at this image, this is how it comes out of the camera. You'll see it's 36 inches. I think you can see that in the screen. Let me just move this here so we can see it. There we go. All right. They're 36 inches and they're 72 dots per inch. So if you come to image mode, I'm just going to go to the image mode up in Photoshop and do images, image sizes, and because it's not going to show up on the screen. Actually, let me do this. That's going to come out. See, I want you to see this. So let me go. Let's remove this, and I'm going to do this. Stop screen share. Let's do percent. Oops. Hold on a second. I just want to get this so you can see share screen and share screen. And I'm going to just bring up. See if I can get just Photoshop. Oh, let's do entire screen. All right, let's see if, whoops, see if we can get this to show up. Bum, 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 bum. Get rid of that. I want this to be, oh, I know what it is. Share screen, share screen. Sorry while I mess around here, but I want to show, oops, share screen, boom, boom, boom. Let's see if we can, we'll take this out of the way. So if I bring up image size, that's what I want to see. Okay, let's get this out of the way and we'll bring this here and we'll fill the entire screen. There we go. So if you'll notice, this is image size for this image, and the resolution is 72 dots per inch, and it's 2,577 pixels wide. Or if I bring it to inches, it's almost 36 inches wide. For InDesign and for Amazon, for KDP, you need to have your image be 300 dots per inch. And so that's the resolution, whether it's going to be an ebook or it's going to be a print book. So you need to change this image. So what I would do is go to this image size screen and change this to 300. Okay. And then this is the key, is I try to make my images about the size of the page of the book they're going to go, a little bit bigger. So my book is 8.5 by 8.5. So I want to make my images basically 8 inches in size. So if I change this to 8 inches, at 300 dots per inch and hit OK. Now I have an image. It's basically the same size-wise, but it's now sized down to be efficient. So I'm not putting in a gigantic picture and squeezing it down. I'm putting in a picture that's about the right size. The other thing is, if I was going to just do this for an ebook, on a live ebook that sort of floats, that rolls along, then I would probably make it 6 inches. That's what I have discovered. 6 inches is good for an ebook. Print book, 8 inches, depending on your page size, is pretty good. Now, I did the ebook version of this as a PDF, so I ended up just using the PDF of the print version, and that worked fine too. So generally, 8 inches wide is the size, 300 dots per inch is the thing. Then I had to take each of these images and I processed them a little bit. So I went to image and I did adjustments and levels. And what I was trying to do was see how close, I'll make sure this is showing here. Yep, okay. You bring up this screen, the level screen, and I would adjust this image by moving the left-hand slider in a little bit. Notice this one changes how dark it gets. So I move it somewhere around here, get a little more saturation. And then the right one, I'd move over and lighten up. It's kind of a balancing act. I move this one over a little bit, about to there. And this one, I would see if you keep going darker and then you can go lighter. So you try to find a balance point, and somewhere around here, I'd find a nice sort of look. I want to give my images a little more pop and balance that there. So there you go. So I did that to every image. And then what I had to do to make it read right on the page, so I didn't have that blue box. You can see that I let some of the paint come out of there, is I then had to go in and silhouette off this whole outside area. So I would take, I'm just going to zoom in here. I would take either this tool right here, or you can also use this tool right here. And I would draw, I would just kind of follow around kind of loosely. You can see I'm just sort of loosely going along here like this. And then when I came to this, I sort of like the paint going outside the line. I would just go outside. And if I scrolled in deeper, I could do it more detail. But basically, I just go along. And I'll just come up here, go over there, like so. Rejoin the line, and then just delete that outside. Fill it with white. You can see the difference here between the background that's here and the background that's here. Okay. So all of that had to be done for every single image all the way around. It took quite a while to kind of do all that, but I knew I would end up with a book that was just a lot better. So let me come out of this. Stop screen share, and we'll do it again. Screen share. All right. And window. All right. Share this for a second. All right. So that's what I would do on every single image, is go around each one and highlight the whole end of it. So now I ended up with 48 images, 8 inches wide, 300 dots per inch. I saved them as JPEGs, I think. Actually, I think what I did is end up doing PNGs, and I just made this outside, just disappeared, just made it transparent. So I ended up with just my inside images that I could use for my book. So the basic process I used for pressing was I ended up photographing my images with my iPad. You can use any camera. On a sunny day, so I had good, consistent sun. I did one after the other. Let's see, let's go back here. Tried scanning different scanners. That didn't work for me. Took those images that were done by the camera. They were on my iPad. Put them onto my desktop. Open them in Photoshop. Silhouette the outside of the image. Take all that extra white off, and put them together into a book. So now let me show you. Let's go back to screen share here for a second. And screen share. Boom. Oops. Where'd it go? Oh, there we go. All right. Window. And I'm going to show you from the PDF. So here they are, is the PDF. And let me bring them up. Let's do view. I'm in my PDF. We'll do 2-page view. And open this up. There we go. All right. So this is the book as I laid it out in InDesign. I'm just showing you the PDF of it. And I just dropped every image in. I added text. So big text. This is basically the text that I wrote that's on Facebook or Instagram. I just edited it and just laid everything out. I created a map for the book. And you can see there's the image, and that's how it sort of shows up on the page. Gave it a caption. Originally, I was thinking children's book when I did it, but it ended up being just a bigger project. It's a total of about 78 pages in space. There's each spread. And I'm pretty pleased. If you look at the quality, let me show you. Let's see. Where's to find the original of the cow. So let's find the cow. Let's see if we can do this here. So there's the cow, and they're pretty good. They're close enough. They're good enough for what I wanted to do. And yeah, so the book just goes along. It just goes day by day. Each image sort of dropped into place. And then at the end of the book, I had finished the entire book. and I was part of a Facebook group, the Hadrian's Wall Facebook group, and people ask a lot of questions who are getting ready for the trip, just like I had questions when I started my trip. And so what I decided to do at the very last minute is I put together a frequently asked questions section of the book. How I planned it, where did I go, what kind of pack did I bring, what were the things I had carried in the pack, um, footwear. Some of these were the questions I knew, some just from answering the other people's questions on Facebook. What I did do is I went through the group, started at the beginning, and just scrolled down. And every question I thought, that's a good question, I wrote it down, and then wrote down what my answer would be. So I used the Facebook group, the Hadrian's Wall Hadrian's Wall Facebook group, to come up with the questions, and then some of them I just added. So there's a structure how the wall works, lessons I learned, and put a little bio at the back, and that's the back cover, and that's it. That's how I would put all of it together, and it was a fun project to do. It took me probably um, 2 months, 3 months to put this whole thing together. One of the decisions in terms of making them maybe not quite as perfect paintings as they might be is I could work on this thing for a year, or I could just get this thing done and move on to the next projects that I have. And so I decided to just do it, try to keep that energy of the quick sketch, do them loose, have fun with it, and pull the whole book together. So that's how to do it. Any questions? You can just drop them into the comments and stuff below. Let's see here. Let's go back up to the beginning. Here we go. And that was it. That's the fun stuff. So, any questions, let me know, and I will see you in our next video. All right. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Oh. Before I go, there was a question that came up about what kind of paper I used on KDP. So I was trying to get a little bit better, and I used the premium paper, the premium option, the standard option in color, premium option in color. I went with the premium to try to get as good a print job as I can. I had done some color proofs on at Staples on their printer, and they're oversaturated, but that isn't how the book came out. It actually came out pretty nicely, and print-wise, so I like the premium, and I think Amazon's prices have dropped. That's just my view, because they seem to be, it's about $7 to print this book as the author cost on it. So that definitely seems less than what other color books I have done. So that's it. So that's the process I use, KDP. And I also took the PDF of the InDesign book and I put it into Kindle Create and created the ebook version of this. So I try to hit all versions of it. So that's that. I would recommend, highly recommend, always recommend. If you're going to do one version, do all the other versions that you can. So I could have done a Word file and dropped the images in it, or you can use the PDF file. I just used the PDF file. It worked great, no problem at all. And so it was fun. All right, see you soon. Keep questions coming. All right, bye-bye.